That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Tsutsuti, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up? If you're new to the show, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's be friends. Let's be family. Let's go.
Hell yeah. And the broken one himself, Mr. Rob Povia.
Much like the Philadelphia Flyers, it looks like I brought a knife to a gunfight tonight.
And today, as always, we are brought to you by Body Check Wellness. Listen, if you have anything that you need to get focused on, or you need to clear your mind, or you're trying to get into shape or what have you, one of the things that's absolutely going to help you is the products that Body Check Wellness provides. There are a line of products that help the balance and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals, and you can use that promo code that you see on your screen right now, A2D, for 20% off. And when Mr. Riley Cote is on with us, once a month he is on with us, and when he is, you can get 40% off of a THC-free box of products. So if you want to try out the THC-free to kind of ease your way into it, that is a possibility there. And when you use that A2D promo code while he's on with us, you get 40% off of that, and that's about $140 worth of savings there. So, all great stuff from them. Also, of course, we have Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal, Burlington, and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. If you got some aches, you got some pains, Brian can tell you all about it. Go to Specialized Physical Therapy. They're easy to work with, and they'll get that all taken care of. Right, Brian?
That's right. They do a really good job over there. They really take care of you. They're very easy with you. They do what you need to do. Great people over there. Dr. Paul's a great guy. Head on over to Specialized Physical Therapy.
And also, for everyone out there who has been watching over the last few weeks, you probably have heard of, but if you haven't, if this is your first time watching, one of our sponsors did get affected by the fire down in Ocean City, All Campus OC. Unfortunately, we didn't know the extent of the damage. However, though, they do have a GoFundMe that they have set up. If you can make any kind of contributions, that will be absolutely appreciated. And any thoughts and prayers, if you can contribute, are also very much appreciated as well. They're a great sponsor, and they do a lot for us, and hopefully we can help get them back on their feet after, unfortunately, getting hit by that fire down in Ocean City. And with that, Rob, I'm going to pass it on to you with some tragic news, sadly.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. I appreciate the time here. I appreciate Tom giving me this time to talk about this. As some of you that follow the show regularly know, I wasn't on the air last week. Sadly, I had a death in the family. My brother-in-law, just one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet in your life. John Cannella passed away on March 13th. He had an aortic dissection. It's the same genetic ailment that also took John Ritter's life. So obviously so sad. He was only 56 years old. So my sister, Sheree, she's absolutely devastated. They have 3 kids, one in college, 2 college bound. I've talked about Nick, heading to Keene. The guy absolutely destroys people on the defensive line. On top of having to pick up all the pieces, still has to make ends meet. And, we're supporting her as the family, but I wanted to do something more. God gave me this ability to talk and write about sports and talk to a lot of people. I wanted to, utilize these platforms to start a movement. So I too started a GoFundMe, just so to take away the worry. So just allow my sister to grieve and honor a man that was worth honoring, is worth honoring. So you can find it in your heart to donate any amount, even if it's $1. My family would be greatly appreciative. Again, thanks so very much. I appreciate this time, and I appreciate all the support. Subscribers, fans, people that follow me on Twitter. It's been overwhelming, and it goes to show that we're not alone in this. We're really not alone in this. You know, it's a fact of life, but the only thing you can get is the lessons from it, and that's just to live life to the fullest every day, cherish every moment. You know, and I'm not saying live grimly, you know, like you're going to die tomorrow, but see it's the day. You know, take care of your body. You know, our big sponsor, Body Check Wellness, all about that. So, you know, we have several sponsors that are right in tune with that. You know, Matty rattled off. So, you know, again, you know, I'm dedicating a column that I'm writing to. He was a Yankee fan, so we didn't see eye to eye on that, but you know, he will be missed. But I feel, and just to wrap up, I feel that you leave a good legacy in this world, and you touch positively everything that you touch and you encounter. That's how you live forever, because people are always going to be telling good stories about you. You know, and that's how we could all defy, you know, the end. So on to more grimmer news, and that's the Philadelphia Flyers. Back to you, Matty.
Yeah, and well, to piggyback off of that, we have one last sponsor that I'm going to get into, because I think the Flyers fans are going to need this right now. We all struggle with mental illness. All of us do. We all have something upstairs that's bothering us, or some of us have some addiction problems. If someone you know has those issues, or you yourself have those issues, 856-651-8117, the Counseling Center in Sunrise Detox. Tell them that Tom sent you. Tell them that anybody sent you from A2D Radio, really, man. We want to see you guys get the help you need. If it's you or if it's a loved one, we want to see them get the help that they need. We don't want to see people struggling with addiction issues or mental problems. So, once again, 856-651-8117. Okay. Well...
So first things first, can I say it? Can I say it? Can I say it? Can I say it?
Sure, Brad. Go ahead.
The Flyers suck. They are terrible. How the hell was this team's? I don't get it. I don't get it. This team is legitimately getting worse as the season goes on. They should be getting better, but they're getting worse.
I know.
You gave up 15 goals. Sorry. No, I lied. What was the final? 8-3?
8-3.
You gave up 17 goals in 2 games to the Rangers. To the Rangers.
Who were not doing all that well going into these games, by the way.
And they were not projected to do well this season, and they're not. This team sucks. And the fact that Chuck Fletcher has done nothing to help this team improve is ridiculous.
It's not much you can do right now, man. I mean, they're not getting any calls in terms of if indeed this team is going to become sellers as the deadline goes. No one's interested in the poor play that you're getting from, like, namely Voracek. Was I the only one that was kind of happy when he got the puck in the face? I almost stood up and applauded, because you're a veteran on this team, and he's King Kong of the backwards turnover pass in the defensive zone. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean, look at it this way. I mean, I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, the poll is the Flyers can recover this season. Agree or disagree? I think we're all on the disagree side right now, which, you know, there's a lot of reasons to say that. But
they won't. They won't. This team has no heart.
This is the situation now. I read that during the press conference, Fletcher saying, well, we're not getting any offers on people who want to take on term or digits or numbers.
You can't with the flat cap. You know, it's going to limit. It not only does it limit the Flyers, it limits the teams you would trade with. Go on.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. Fine. So you're not going to get the trade. You can't find the trade. All right. Then it's a simple solution. You fire the coach. You tank. You fire the coach.
No, I don't necessarily think that this is an issue with the coach. I think
you need to send a message. It doesn't matter if it's his fault or it's not his fault. You need to send a message to this team. As the GM, he hasn't done shit. It's the only thing he has in his tank now. If he's not getting that trade, he's got to send a message to this team. And even if you wind up losing this season,
firing AV is not going to answer that. That's not going to do shit with this team. It's the roster. It's not the coaching staff. This roster has no heart whatsoever, and you can see it on the ice. If you bring in another coach, if you put the interim label on Terrian or Mike out, it's not going to make a difference with this roster. There's talent on this roster, but they have no heart. They're playing with nothing. They're just out there going through the motions. You want to create a spark? You want to create a fire under this team? Got to move the personnel. You got to create the spark on the roster. You could put who's one of the better coaches, Nick? You could put Barry Trotz back there right now, and this team wouldn't do shit. You want to send a message? Send it with one of the guys wearing one of the letters. Send a message with Giroux. Send a message with Couturier, although he's been one of the more consistent ones. Send a message that way. Let them know that everybody's fair game. You're not going to perform, you're not going to play. Send a message that way. Because I guarantee you fire AV, you fire Terrian, it's not going to matter. This team has no heart. And you can see it on the ice every night.
It's hard to argue that point, Brian.
At the end of the day, something has to be done. The problem is that if Fletcher's not going to get that trade, then what do? You sit down and you do nothing? Because that's pretty much what those options are then. You sit down and you do nothing. Oh, well, I couldn't get the trade.
But you fire a coach in his second year?
Who gives a fuck?
After he just went to the playoffs?
It doesn't even matter. The team isn't even playing like that. It's like, who the fuck cares at this point who's behind the bench at this point in time? It really doesn't even matter.
Because the fan base knows it's not the coach. The fan base knows it's the personnel.
But again, though, look at the situation that Fletcher's now into. It's like, he has to do something. What's he going to do? Feign ignorance and pretend that he couldn't do anything, so therefore the team's just going to suck ass for the rest of the year, and he didn't even attempt to do anything?
Send somebody down. Start bringing other players up. If these guys aren't going to perform, send them down.
That's a good suggestion.
Because, again, it's the team that's not playing well. It's not the coaching staff. Look at the defense.
I see, Brian, no one's arguing with you on that point, but over the history of sports, Chuck Fletcher said it himself. It's all about accountability from the top down. It starts with him. It goes to the coaching staff. And a lot of times coaches have lost their job, not for what they're doing wrong, but for their players. And the one advantage, and I think too many spoons can spoil the soup, that expression. You have a lot of guys that have been head coaches in this league behind the bench. Maybe it's become a thing of that, but the advantage that you have is that your intern immediately has had NHL experience to where it doesn't leave you hanging. According to his tone and what he had to say, and when I say him, I mean Chuck Fletcher, I wouldn't expect really a major move like a coach firing or even a move based on the flat cap. Also, that you go to give up stock for a top 4 defenseman, and then you got to protect him, leaving one of your younger forwards to the expansion draft. That's a concern too. So it's hard pulling off that trade. But to Maddie's point, something has to be done. But I to answer your question, Maddie, based on what Chuck had to say Monday, it seemed like same old story till the offseason. It's on the players to turn it around. It's on them. They got to look at themselves in the mirror, and it's gut check time. That's the bottom line.
Well, then basically what we're going to do then is we're missing the playoffs this year. We know that now. We understand that. So now what we have to do is heads have to roll come the offseason. And if heads don't roll come the offseason, then Fletcher's head needs to roll come the offseason. Sure. It's as simple as that. Sure. That's basically what it is at this point.
Because guys, I'm looking at the coaching staff, and you're seeing constantly the same story playing over and over again. Bad changes, getting constantly pinned in their own defensive zone with tired players. That's a coaching problem. I mean, the bad outlets don't help matters either. I'm not taking away from the bad pass. I'm sick of fucking talking about them at this point. But you saw tonight on 2 different Ranger goals, a poor change immediately led to them lighting the lamp. And it's gotten to a point where the goalies just, both Hart and Elliott tonight, namely Hart, they're like, fuck you. If you're going to stop playing in front of me, I'm going to stop playing in goal. That it seems to be just a culture of feeling sorry for themselves. And if they don't shake it up now, it is done. It's absolutely done.
What's sad is too is that this team's playing like the Sabres. This team is playing like the Buffalo Sabres, a beaten team with a losing culture, and can't seem to get their shit together no matter what they do.
Yeah.
How is
They
it
have
that
more
this?
wins right now than Buffalo does. They got a 16-game winless streak going, so at least the Flyers
I mean,
don't have that. There's something positive.
Yeah, that's the one silver lining you can pull out of that. But the fact that you're even
No,
remote,
I have a few more. I'll get to them when I give my answer to the poll, because then people are going to start to hate on me. But go on.
the thing about this is that this team is playing like a last place team. This team is playing like a team that just absolutely blew it the fuck up, is trying to get high draft picks at this point, is just completely saying, fuck it, we're going to hit the reset button completely. That's what they're playing like. They're not playing like a team that last year had an amazing run. Yes, it was cut short, but then made it to the second round, won their first playoff series since 2012, and looked like a legitimate team during the time that they were actually going for that playoff spot. And at the end of the day, we're not even seeing a shred of that dignity here. We're looking at a team that walked into this feeling like, well, we're out already. Mm-hmm. That's what they're playing like. And the sad part of it is we know that this team is better than this. That's the real sad part of this situation. We know this team can do better than this. We've known this for a long time. And the problem is their outright refusal to play the way that they can play is disgusting. That's the sickening part of this whole thing. It's not the fact that the team lost. You know what? We can take a. You know what? If you're a fan of Philadelphia, you have to get used to losing. You have to, especially in clutch situations. You have to get used to that. That's inherent. But it's the way they lose and the way they look out there. It's like they're not putting the effort out there. They're not looking like a team that's trying. They're looking like a team that's just, like you said, Brian, going through the motions. It's just a ridiculous thing to see every night when you know that this team can play better than that.
And that's why, Matty, I say that's why I'm arguing, like, you can't fire AV yet, because I know, like, as much as there's been some coaching issues in there, a lot of it's on the players. Most of
I'm
it's
not
on
saying
the
it isn't.
Look at some of the turnovers, Matty. If you look at some of the turnovers, there's no communication. Nobody's talking to each other out there. I think that's why there's been so many turnovers.
I get that. But again, it's just from my standpoint of looking at it, it's like, well, you got to send a message somehow. And if you can't get this fucking trade, then you got to do something else. You can't sit on your hands and feign ignorance and say, well, I asked the players to turn it around. Guess what? You still had to do something, and you chose to do nothing. It's like you have the option. You balked at the option. I'm not saying that would have solved the problem completely, but you can at least say you were trying to fix the team, and you're not even trying. That's basically what that's saying to me. It's like, I'm not even willing to take a chance and say, you know what, fuck it. Let's do a coaching change. Let's see if that fucking wakes them up. That's at least saying you're trying. That's at least saying, I'm going to do it. So what? It doesn't matter who the coach is at this point. We've seen it happen. It doesn't fucking matter. But we have seen it where it will all of a sudden wake them up. We saw it happen when they lost Hackstall. Like, he got fired. Next thing you know, they played like they actually gave a shit. They didn't make the playoffs, but they played like they gave a shit. All of a sudden, like, oh, like magic. All of a sudden you realize, oh, fuck, they just fired our coach. Yeah, like, oh, shit, they just fired our coach. Maybe we actually need to play like we actually give a shit. Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe the GM doesn't want you to under-fucking achieve. How about that, you fucking sacks of shit? Have you ever thought about that for 2 seconds?
I still think you need to make an example out of one of the guys wearing one of the captain letters. Send a real message.
Get that. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm not arguing with you on that one. But we are all in agreement, though, that something has to be done. A message has to be sent in some fucking way. Some way it's got to get done.
Dude, during the broadcast, they talked about it. 65 goals allowed in 1 month for the first time since January 93 when they let up 66. I mean, that absolute disheartening play. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
I see what you did.
I'm picking on my son, and that's fine. I have every right to. Others don't. But see, Brian, I question a coach that's taking a guy and healthy scratching him and then putting him back in with the top defensive lineman or defensive line pair. What message? Like the randomness of the roster moves, the poor line changing, not utilizing your last change at home ice. There's been fault, and AB, he's, Chuck Fletcher's being accountable, AB's being accountable. AB's a good guy, but according to some people, that have been talking in Rangerland that are quite familiar with him, he gets in players' heads. And what team have you seen more in their heads than this Philadelphia Flyers team right now? I'll give you the answer. It's none. It's none. Because tonight was absolutely just, it was like a pickup game on Sunday morning over at the park. You know what I mean? Oh, he scored another one there. Oh, well, geez. So if you do something now to shake it up and you have, even it doesn't even have to be AB, mind you, right? There needs to be some accountability. Let's look at the real Achilles heel. The Rangers tonight were 3 for 4 on the power play. I don't know if that last goal was on the power play. And where was he getting, the Lafreniere getting decked, poking in on your veteran goaltender right there, and Brian Elliott. That's what I mean about lack of compete level, right? But you're just off the penalty kill, which has been atrocious. Mike Yao could be a name to fire here. He's in charge of this penalty kill. He's in charge of the special teams in general. And the power play hasn't been too disappointing lately for the Flyers, but still been league average. So you shake it up now. And Maddie, you put out the poll. The Flyers can recover this season. And much to the chagrin of everyone here that's watching, I'm going to agree that they can. It has to start now, though. They got to stop feeling sorry for themselves when they get down in games, put 2 to 3 wins together, and if you do a coaching move or even like Brian's suggestion about sending someone down and bringing up, some of your younger talent. Unfortunately, I don't think Frost is going to be ready health-wise until the very end of the regular season, last I read. But someone like him or of other ilk, bring up Big Z Wisdom. Let's go.
Why not? He's playing well.
Right? He's playing real well right now, right? You put 2 to 3 wins together in a row, and this argument is purely based on the novelty of this season. So hear me out here, right? You're playing all these interdivisional schedule games. You often, when you're going in a bad way, you don't have much time to catch your breath, like I was talking to you before the show, Brian. Sometimes in a normal 82-game schedule, you got that 4 or 5 day off where you can have a morning skate, you can have a team meeting, which this team desperately needs, whether it be players only or not, right? Have that time. You don't have that time. So you got to take advantage of these individual games in your schedule. After the Bruins lost in overtime tonight, they're still only 3 points out despite Boston having games in hand. And with this condensed schedule, they're not guaranteed wins for any club. But like I said, it needs to start now with 24 games left, gentlemen. Can they snap out of this funk and play consistent hockey? You guys know the game of hockey. It could turn on a string and momentum, and you need confidence boosters. And I thought we were getting that late last week before I went down to be with family, and then they got embarrassed by the Rangers in part one. They were playing actually better hockey than they were playing when they were winning earlier in the season. It can be recaptured again. I could get into how they can do that. You just got to stop feeling sorry for yourselves, and you got to look at, who's regressing, call them out in the locker room, and go from there. All right, I'm done pirating now. Thank you.
I want to touch on one comment real quick from our old friend Dave Rosca here, saying he said a couple of things. I want to touch on these real quick. Saying Anaheim needs to look at themselves in the mirror also. No, they don't. They're a rebuilding team. This team isn't ready to compete yet. They're getting close, but they're a team that's going to be a bottom feeder for the next year or two. And then what else did he say? He said Bucks need to find another disciplined head coach like Mike Babcock. Again, disagree. It's a rebuilding team. Dallas Eakins has had a lot of success with young players. They are going to be sellers at the deadline. They're going to move pieces at the deadline. But they are not going to be a team that's going to get in the playoff race for another year or two. Let the young guys come up and develop. Zegers has come up, and he's starting to really play well. Jamie Drysdale's come up. He's playing well at the NHL level. Just give this team some time. They got a lot of young pieces that need to develop. Give it time. They'll be a playoff team in another year or two.
So
and
we
then
got
one more.
What was
Sorry,
it?
Maddie. It's from Anthemio. He said, when Lindholm has to drop the gloves, that should tell you about the character of this team. He should be the last person fighting.
I like Morant tonight, though. I like Morant tonight, fucking just jacking him, Claude's son there, Brendan Lemieux. I mean, I thought he was going to get a game of or 10-minute misconduct on top of that, but luckily they didn't even give him an instigator. Just gave him a cross check. But I mean, that's the type of fire and passion that you need that you're just not seeing on this team right now.
Exactly, and that's why I said earlier, this team has no heart. They don't fight for each other. They don't support each other on any form of play, whether it be back check, forecheck, transition, whatever. Blind passes left and right like they're expecting a guy to be there.
Right.
Put your damn head up. Let the plays come to you. Simplify the game. Stop overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
Get physical. Win board battles. Win puck battles. Finish your checks. Clear out the net in front of Hart. That's the big one. Clear out the damn net in front of Hart. Let him see the stuff that's coming to him.
Stop watching
letting
the
guys
fucking
own
game.
that area.
Yeah. We talked about it. Puck watching. You puck watch and you allow the trailer to come in and put it, in the back of the net. That's why, I mean, how many times have we seen that over the past week alone?
Hell, Braun's guilty of it, and Braun's been in the league how fucking long? And let's see. We got Prism saying, what's up,
We got
Priz?
a bunch of great
Fox.
comments in here tonight. I'm just putting that out there.
Fox and Zibanejad had big games. Crazy how many shots on the goal. The Blue Liners had only 3 goals, Prov and 7 alone. Myers had 5? Usually that's a good sign if you get bodies in front to deflect. True.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we do have Jim Ainfly saying, as a Penguins fan, watching the Flyers implode makes 2020 worth it. Is that really what made 2020 worth it for you, bro? I hope not. It's kind of low.
There's not much that made 2020 worth it. 2020
I'm
was
just
a terrible
saying,
year for everybody.
As a Flyers fan, watching the Flyers implode, I don't know if that's really something that a Penguins fan would hold in high regard. I mean, watching Washington implode, that probably would have made it worth it, at least in my opinion.
Hey, did that same Devils team just embarrass your team, Jim? I know I can't speak from a very high ground right now as a Flyers fan, but I wouldn't be too cocky yourself there. I mean, guys might get in by default.
Now, he does go on to say Hextall, since joining Pittsburgh, the Pens are 16-6-1.
Oh.
But
Hextall should have never been fired. He was fired because he wouldn't fire Dave Axtell. I'm not
God
surprised.
forbid, an organization that is too loyal fires a guy for having some kind of loyalty.
Yeah.
Ironic, right?
Well, let's call it what it is. Paul Holmgren showed up as a GM. Paul Holmgren's a piece of shit and a fucking idiot on top of that. He was a better player than he ever was an executive or a coach or anything for that matter. And so at the end of the day, he fires him. Why? Because Holmgren's ego is the size of fucking Philadelphia, and he doesn't like the fact that Hextall told him to go fuck himself on the Dave Hextall issue. Told him he granted him autonomy and then pulled that autonomy away the first chance he fucking got. Shut the fuck up for Paul Holmgren. Fuck off. Fucking ruin the fucking team just by fucking firing Ron Hextall. Anyway.
If you're in your Red Wings look great tonight.
What were you going to say, Rob?
I was going to say, you're right. I mean, these are facts with the tiebreakers right now. I guess they did technically pass. They're tied in points, but I don't know about the games played there. I mean, it's getting bad. There's no doubt about it, right? But you don't have much time in a short season, but you still have the time. I mean, as a fan, that one that's not going to tear down, the other team, I got to actually support my team and believe that, it's hard to believe after a night like this, and I get that, right? But I've been a Flyers fan for too long. I've been a hockey fan for too long. And unlike any other sport, you get a little breath of confidence. They come out, post up maybe a nice 3-1 victory, and it could turn on a dime. I mean, it's going to be hard for Carter Hart to get any sort of semblance of confidence back, but it's a wonder what a shutout will do. I mean, there's no lying that this team is horrific defensively. They've now, given up the most goals in the NHL. They have the worst save percentage, so you could point the finger to the defense all you want, but ultimately a goaltender save percentage is more indicative of what they're doing, But when they're constantly put in bad spots, I mean, not playing the 2-on-1, taking away the pass so he could square up to the shooter. I mean, it's a wonder. It's a wonder, that where they are.
Yeah, to Emilio's comment here, he says Carter Hart needs to be in Lehigh. If Moose was playing better, I would strongly consider that. But Moose is playing just as bad.
And
So
again,
I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't think there's anybody in the organization right now that's going to play better.
Do you shake it up and throw in Alex Lyon in the next game? Be like, guys, if neither one of you want to play, you know what I mean? Do that throughout the roster, like to your earlier point.
Yeah,
I mean,
why
honestly,
not?
Yeah, it can't hurt at this point. What else you gonna
Bring
do?
them up, scratch
you know what I mean?
Right.
Bring them up, scratch one of the other ones, and let Lyon have the start.
I mean, I'm just not going to overreact when it comes to Carter Hart in a coronavirus era, and I'm not making excuses. Everybody has to deal with it the same, right? But in a unique season, you look back to some of the younger years of all the elite goaltenders in this league. They've had these seasons. You got to overcome it. Maybe it does take him going down to Lehigh, rediscovering this game. It's hard to believe that much talent can go away like that.
Yeah, and he even says, I say that just to get him out of the spotlight. And you know what? He might need a trip to Lehigh. He might, but right now, I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to take back my previous comment. Do it. Send him down there. This team's not going to make the playoffs. Let him recondition down there. Let him spend the rest of the year down there. Bring up Alex Lyon. Let him rock. Just let him recondition down there. Bring him back up. He'll name him the starter for next year, and that's that.
Do you think it's that Boston has too many games in hand? That you say confidently that they can't make the playoffs?
I'm saying that pretty confidently, yeah.
I mean, obviously things need to turn around and do a 180, but under that hypothetical premise, you don't think they could potentially catch. I mean, it's hard. There's a big distance between the Islanders and Washington. You're talking like 10, 12 points there.
3 points out from Boston. Yeah, I mean, Boston's only going to get better. And they got Boston has games in hand.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a key thing. I think they played 29 to the Flyers 32, so 3 games in hand. And you're not guaranteed. They're not all, don't award them 6 points quite yet. Like I said, they're going to have to make up those games in quick succession. Mm-hmm. And you've seen lower brow teams like the Devils, like the Sabres come in and give them an L. So I mean, see what's disturbing, and to Jim's credit, I'll give credit, Pittsburgh really turned around their season. They're sitting at 44 points. So that's, now you're talking 10-point difference there. They're more than just sliding in by default. They're securing their place, Yep. I'll give credit where credit's due.
I mean, it's one of those things of where, you're looking at a situation of a team that I think, unfortunately, is there time? Technically, yes, there is. But with the way that this team is played, even if they started playing better tomorrow, if they come out the next game and they blow the team out, whoever the fuck they're facing, I forget, and they start stringing several victories together and get some win streaks together, even if they do that, this team is so inconsistent. All it takes is one real bad couple of weeks like this, and they're right back out of it all over again. Because the points are close enough to where that can happen. And the team is so inconsistent, I can't confidently say that this team can get into the playoffs and hold a playoff position. It would be, to me, it seems like that's even too much of a fucking mountain for them to scale at this point, is for them to even get 4th place in the division.
The one advantage, man, is that you're going to have to get on a roll to do it. And then you'll be rolling into the playoffs. So I'm just saying, man, anything's possible. I mean, because you've seen elite level of play from these guys, it's a total in your head lack of momentum, lack of confidence, right? Teams are coming into the well or are hosting the Flyers and smelling blood in the water, and then the Sharks go circling. Almost like Jonesy said tonight, almost to the point of cockiness. And then it's all about ripping their head off and shitting down their throat.
And that's the thing that I will say here. I said this during the game. Even the team in 2007 a team that was dead last in the East, a team that had nothing to play for but a high draft pick, they had more dignity. They had more dignity than the games we've seen over the last few weeks, because at least if you wanted to play them, they still played you hard. Yeah, they sucked and they weren't doing shit and they would lose 90% of their games, but at least they played like they were going to win. Yeah, they didn't, but they played like they could win. There's more to say about a team that's actually going to try and fight you, even if they're not going to win. Think about it this way. Look at what the Devils were doing. No one expects the Devils to do anything, and they're probably not going to make it. But at least the Devils are trying. They're going out there, and they're actually fighting for every fucking inch of the ice. They fucking whipped our ass. That tells you everything you need to know. Yeah.
Leading the league in rookie points, putting out solid efforts game in and game out. There's a lot of youth. That team's going to be scary in 2 to 3 years. Mark my words. Just like this Rangers team that we saw tonight, and they might even be starting. Like I was a little high on them preseason. Tonight. Now, you look no further than the opposition tonight, Maddie, and it's an example of how a squad can turn their season around. Earlier this season, they were wondering what was wrong with Mika up in New York, and he looks okay to me now. Just saying. So what you need to have is that from a guy like Konechny, who's just had zero confidence since the bubble. Let's call it like it is. I think that's been my biggest miss coming in. I expected Konechny to really, start regularly lighting up the score sheet on a game in and game out basis. And you've seen little spurts here and there, but not lately. I like them when they started the game. The first 7 minutes, they are having TK back on the top line. And if you notice, they were playing with energy. And then they went away from it. That's another issue. I just, I'm not going to beat a dead horse with my displeasures with the coaching. But, you're going to preach accountability, Chuck? We'll hold it throughout the organization.
Listen, this organization is reminding me a little bit of the Eagles right now. The lack of accountability from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Going from really ownership, which Emilio was saying earlier, ever since Comcast took over, this team has been an issue. Down to Chuck Fletcher, to AV, to Michelle Therrien, to Mike Yao, to the players. And the players are my biggest issue, because they are not night in and night out sloppy play. Night in and night out, turnover after turnover after turnover. Night in and night out. There needs to come a point where this team is going to put everything together. Too much do I see one night the defense plays well, but there's no offense. The offense plays well, the defense is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
This team at some point needs to put together a full 60-minute. They're not doing it.
They're playing out.
Go ahead, Robbie.
They're playing out of position, Brian. Is what
Absolutely.
It is. You didn't replace that top D man, and now you got everybody playing out of position. They're all in their head. Sanheim's too good for this to be playing like this. Now Myers could be jumping the shark. He could be jumping the shark. Then you got to evaluate that and make moves. There forth. So only time will tell with that. But ultimately, another gap in coaching. The gap in the general manager by not properly addressing that top D band properly. Eric Gustafson would say it's been a flop. It's been a flop signing. You even have Moran, who they wanted to convert to a wing, have to be moved back to the defense. When did you ever think this team, the way they drafted, let me save that for biggest disappointments later in the show.
Yeah. We are going to do our mid-season awards, so we'll give that in a moment.
Let's go through some of these comments. We got a bunch of them in here.
Yeah, we do. Emilio was also talking about how much leash does AV really have if they lose the next 3. Is his job on the line? And I say it is, honestly. I mean, I get it that is it AV's fault completely? No, you can't put it all on AV, but at the same time, you got to do something if you're not going to get that trade. It's just, to me, it's just like, well, what else are you going to do? If you're not going to get the trade because of the flat cap, which is understandable that GMs don't want to get baited on that. It's like, well, you got to do something. You can't just sit on your ass and pretend that nothing's going to, everything's going to work itself out in the end, even if it does. even if they manage to recover this season, they get into the postseason and lose in the first round or what have you. I'm looking at that situation. I'm saying, like, I don't have any faith in this team going forward if that's the way that they're going to play. Like it's the way I would look at that, honestly. But
the one thing too, Maddie, is everybody's worried about the expansion draft. The Flyers minor league system right now has some good players in there. If they take somebody that maybe you don't want to necessarily have them take, there's somebody down there that's ready to take that spot.
True.
And then you have Tyson Forster. You have
Cam
what's
York.
his name? Zane Wisdom. Both playing well in the Phantoms right now. There's guys that are down there to replace these guys, and I think that's something this team needs to see. There's a little bit more young blood, a little bit more spark, and somebody playing with a little goddamn heart.
Yeah, it's ridiculous on this one. And Emilio's saying TK is playing his way out of here with his $5.5 million cap hit. And you're not wrong. TK is putting a great case for his ass to get traded soon as possible. And then let's see, Isaac Ratcliffe.
Double. No, keep going down. He asked, is Ratcliffe any good?
Oh.
It looks like he hit return a little too soon.
Oh, okay. That's probably what it is. All right. Anyway, but he also said losing Pitlick left a hole in the fourth line in the PK. I'm not going to lie. Pitlick was a good character player, so losing him didn't help anything. And it sucks. But even that, you could have tried to get Nate Thompson back. Then they didn't get him back. Hell, you could have tried to got Derek Grant back, although I'm pretty sure he was too married to Anaheim. He probably would have went running back to Anaheim anyway. But, still, the point is, like, those guys were character players. Yeah, they weren't the sexy names, but at the end of the day, they were the guys in the locker room that were just like, they were going to do whatever needed to get done to get your team fucking going, and that's the sad part. Losing guys like them did not help the situation whatsoever at all.
Even Robbie was saying, I think it was in our little group chat there, that maybe going out and getting JG Pajot is probably the best move for the Flyers. Maybe. I mean, the hindsight's 2020 on this one, but
they had Torts.
Oh God! In the locker room can't even handle AV. You think they're going to be able to handle Torts?
They wouldn't be able to handle Torts. Absolutely not. Are you kidding? Him and Giroux would probably yell at each other on the fucking bench. Giroux would fucking take a stick and whack him with it, probably.
I don't know if he'd go that far. I just think he would skate away. Tyler Coletti wants to know if Gritty sold the team yet.
Oh no, not yet.
He owns the team?
He probably does. If he does own the team, then I would say here's the thing, though. I hope Gritty owns the team. If he owns the team, then maybe he won't sell it. Maybe he'll actually, say, okay, we need to fix this team. We need to now. So, yeah, a lot of you guys are gone. Anyway.
I got a couple up here, Matt. I got Edward Taylor on YouTube saying, next Flyer show should be a trade show. It's a possibility.
We already did that.
The trade deadline's coming up. I mean, we can go real in-depth.
We could if we want. We can actually go through. We can go through the entire roster, top to bottom, and we will either say trade them or keep them. Simple as that. We'll go through the whole roster. I guarantee you, there's not going to be a lot of keep-ems right now, especially if next week rolls around and this team's still playing like fucking shit. Anyway,
and our friends over at the Philly Sports Passion 85 says Carter needs a wake-up call. This entire team needs a wake-up call. Not just Hart.
It's not just Hart. It's see, here's the thing. If there's one player I honestly feel bad for, it's Hart. Because this is a kid who's 22 years old, a kid that we are pinning a lot on at a very young age, gets brought up at 22 years old, which is a very rare thing to see. And also on top of that, there's a lot of players who at 22 years old hadn't even played a full season, hadn't even played close to a full season, and they're starters now. So that tells you a lot of the situation Hart was brought into, telling, okay, kid, you're the starter now. Here's the ball, go run with it. Not saying that, his play has been, flawless. It absolutely has not been. But when the team plays like shit in front of him and then his confidence gets absolutely shattered, which is possible at 22 years old, the results are what they are at the end of the day. It's like, well, can't really blame it on poor Hart. This poor kid's been left out on an island the entire fucking season, told, hey, kid, make wine out of shit. Can you do that for us? Like, no, I can't. It's like, oh, well then, sorry. Like, Thanks, guys. Wonderful fucking job. I'm pretty sure he's so happy he got drafted by us. Fucking idiots. Anyway.
Well, I mean, like Al Morgani said during one of the intermissions, I mean, there's not much you can change with the level of play that's going in front of you. Your job as a goalie is just to go out and make a save. That's your job, and you're just not getting that from him nor Elliott right now. And I get it that you can't. I'm not pinning any of the 5 goals on him. I'm not attacking Carter. I love him like a son, but you got to go. You know what I mean. You come out and make one of those top 10 saves, right? Then all of a sudden, people on the bench get a little juice. You know what I mean? You could change the game. It's obviously a passive, in his head thing. Wake up call is absolutely needed. Philly Sports Passion. You're absolutely right.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here. We got a bunch of them up here. Eddie Brown seems it's time to pull the energy in the Sixers. Flyers are going nowhere. Unfortunately, it's the truth.
Emilio saying
the Sixers are sucking all the mojo. They're sucking all the Philly mojo right now. They're doing well. I love it. It's awesome.
Good trade this afternoon too, which I really liked. They gave up one of the players I didn't want to see in Tony Bradley, but they got a good player in George Hill back, so I'm not too upset with that.
Emilio saying it's almost incredible that 22-year-old goalie is even playing in the NHL regularly, and that is true. It's not rare, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe that was something we didn't realize the entire time. Like, we wanted Hart up, but maybe Hexie was smart enough to say no. He's 22 years old, and I don't want him up here yet. It's like, well, he wouldn't have been 22. He would have been like 19 at the time.
Maybe Hexie was definitely onto something with that.
Yeah, and he was saying like, no, I was a goalie. And I was 22 at one point. I wasn't ready for the NHL at 22, and Hexie wasn't in the NHL at 22. So, I mean, yeah, he came into the league by, unfortunately, tragic death, but when he came in, he was ready to be a starter. So, says a lot, Yeah,
but again, it helps when the team in front of you is playing better and actually supporting you and putting you in good positions to win, but unfortunately, they're not. But again, it's fair. It's not fair to not put any criticism on Carter Hart.
No, and you're
because
right.
He hasn't played well either.
Yeah, Carter, I will say mentally he has, he was made of glass, he's shattered. And unfortunately, I think he's kind of in that mode of I can't do anything. And it's like, just like a lot of the other players on the team right now. And it's like, that is the wrong thing to think right now. It's like, you should be the guy who thinks, no, we can win this because you're the goalie. You're the guy who's got to make the last line of defense. You and the captain and anyone wearing a letter on their jersey needs to be the guys who say, no, we can win this game. We just need to play like we fucking give a shit. And that's how we're going to win this fucking game.
Or you go into the locker room like Brian Elliott did, right? Basically sprinting off the ice, smashing his goalie stick. Have someone go fucking ape shit in the locker room. That's what you need to see. That's what you need to see straight out of Goon.
On fire.
Yeah.
Don, you have a good night, brother. We love you, dude.
Night, Don. It's a shame
definitely got room for you, brother.
Hey, listen, my team sucks, but you know what? We're rebuilding, so I'm good where we are. I had no expectations for this team, so I'm good.
Emilio's saying he's been asked, but what can you do? His backup is on Medicare, and put Alex Lyon in.
Oh, Emilio, easy. Damn. I'm a little bit younger than actually I think me and Moose are actually exactly the same age, actually. So you better take it easy with the Medicare jokes, bro.
Yeah, Priz, I know. I'm on Twitter. Listen, I begrudgingly joined Twitter. I didn't want to join Twitter. That's why I'm not in the conversations, because I don't want to be on there. Like, literally, it actually gives me physical pain to be on Twitter or on Facebook for more than 20 minutes. I have to be off before that.
we were talking a little Tim Peel in that whole situation earlier. I don't know if you boys wanted to touch upon that while we were on tonight.
What a scumbag. Don't worry, Amelia. I knew what you were saying. I was just busting your balls, bud. Don't worry. This is a scumbag. He's what's wrong with officiating in pro sports. I'm just putting that out there. He really is. Like, these guys play favorites, and they should be unbiased. It's ridiculous. I'm glad he didn't wind up making a call against Nashville, but the fact that you wanted to, you were hoping to, come on. You're what's wrong with pro sports and officiating.
No, absolutely. It's ridiculous. It's like, you're the referee. Your job is to be unbiased. You're just there to call the game. Doesn't matter what you grew up, or who you rooted for, or who one of your favorite players are in the league, or who you have good conversations in between whistles with, or whatever the fuck. That shit should never come into play as an official. Your job is to be unbiased. Your job is to make the officiating to the point where people don't even realize you're there. Your job is just to make the calls when they come up. Your job is just to be there as the guy who makes sure the game stays under control. That's it. That's the role that you are. That is it. And the fact that you're going to put your own personal bias into your job is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's like, it's a perfect example of, it's basically the equivalent of when, what was the name of that NBA official who took bribes and was making shitty calls on purpose? There was a big controversy that happened earlier on in the 2000s over that.
I don't remember who, but I mean, like, to your point, Maddie, because I agree with you, and this is why I say pro sports instead of just NHL. You see it a lot in baseball too, especially with the home plate umpires. If the home plate umpire likes the pitcher, he's going to give him a few calls here and there. If he doesn't like the pitcher, he's not going to give him the calls. He's going to squeeze his strike zone a little bit. However, if he hears anything from either dugout, he's going to squeeze the strike zone probably. The catcher says something, chirps. Pitcher says something, chirps. Squeezes the strike zone.
Yeah,
it does. Like with baseball, like it's ridiculous. That's why Angel Hernandez, Joe West, they're some of the worst umpires in baseball.
I knew if I thought about it long enough, I would get your answer. Tim Donahue.
That's who it was. That's right. That was a huge controversy. Yeah, I remember that when that broke, everyone was like, whoa, holy shit. But then again, at the same time, I think there were plenty of people who were basketball fans or just sports fans just saying, oh, yeah, we already knew. Long time ago, these motherfuckers are taking money. But anyway.
But I mean, in any sport, there's the makeup call. You know what I mean? The makeup strike. You know what I mean? Like that. But it's you don't get caught admitting it. You don't get caught saying it. You know what I mean? Like it's that unspoken rule. But this seemed like it took it to the next level where he was going out hunting for trying to control the game and the flow instead of, to Priz's point in the Twitter chat, just allowing the boys to play. And if there's going to be fucking blowouts, there's going to be blowouts. Good Lord, we're seeing enough of them over the past week or two. Let the players win and lose the game. Don't be that deciding factor. Control the flow of the game in terms of calling it down the middle fair. And just like you get caught on a hot mic saying a racial slur, revealing your racist ways, or saying a sexist remark, or sending dick pics, as we know a certain former GM of the New York Mets did, right? You're gonna be held accountable, and you're gonna be fired. But more than that, I think and Priz, you can go on and correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but there should be written into the bylaws for these refs, at least it's focusing on hockey, where they have to be judged based on play and tenure. And if you fall behind a certain threshold, you start losing those playoff games. You start losing those, some quote unquote gigs. You know what I mean? Like I said, that was Priz's point. I'll let him elaborate on that.
Well, DB showed up here. What's up, DB? So just showed up to send my grievances for the Flyers. Then we got JJ. I'm gonna listen, JJ. I'm not gonna say your full YouTube handle. It says Hextall came up at 22 after a rookie of the year season at the AHL level.
But that's a rookie of the year, so that's a rare exception to the rule. 9 times out of 10, unless you are rookie of the year, you're not coming up to the NHL at 22 years old. Or if you are, you're a backup. You are not starting.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jeffrey Rose also says, I did also, DB. Was curious how the Flyers felt after a week like this.
Well, they probably feel like shit, but yeah.
Not good.
I mean, at this point, it's honestly, it gets to the point where if I was one of the fucking players on this team, I would just start. If I was fucking Hart or Moose, to be honest with you, I would have done Ron Hextall to my own players. Honestly, I would have just when the moment that fucking Sanheim, Myers, or Braun or anybody came out, I would have smacked them with the fucking pad. I'm like, you fucking asshole, you left me out there to dry, you son of a bitch. and like enjoy the fucking injury. Like literally, that's how I would have felt with the way this team performed.
I'm literally waiting for the moment that they break out into a team fight. It's going to happen at any moment because that's what's going on. You're seeing pathetic level of play right now.
What's up, Chris? Yeah, the Flyers do have a major problem.
Yeah,
Major problems. Let's make that plural.
I mean, the offense has been nice when they actually have offensive zone presence. I mean, you look at tonight, what was it, 38 shots on goal? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's there are some takeaways, but geez, not very many.
Yeah, I mean they had that second half of not even the second half of the second period. Rangers scored that fourth or fifth goal, and then the Flyers went on and scored 3 in a row. And then after that, they couldn't break Shesterkin again.
I love your point, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely right. And here's the other thing too, another weird trend with the Flyers. So either they're getting blown out, or they get blown out in a period, and then they all of a sudden wake up and they start playing harder and they actually start getting back into the game. We saw this with the Devils, where they were just fucking abysmal, and then they came within 1 goal. And they almost tied it up, and they couldn't tie it up. They did the same thing last week. So it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, you play like shit one period, and then all of a sudden you want to play good now. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like you can't have fucking shitty starts like this and dig yourself into this gigantic hole and expect to get yourself out of this. Like, there are some scores you cannot surpass. Yes, no lead is technically safe. But when you play like shit and inconsistently, it is safe when you get right down to it. And unfortunately, it's been safe against the Flyers, just by 1 goal half the time.
So to the other side of that, though, Matty, is it may have been a shitty start, and they have given up 65, I think, first period goals this season. They're building blocks. So you use those good things. They may not come back all the way, but if they show some signs of life, you hope that builds confidence. You hope that gets something going for the next game. So they have some kind of confidence going in the next game instead of just getting flat out destroyed and
feeling
like shit going into the next game. So, you got to take the positives out of it. And, 38 shots, a good offensive presence. They didn't really settle down defensively, but they got some goals in, had some great scoring chances. So you take that into the next game against the Rangers on Saturday, and you hope that they learn from it and they can build off it. So, it's just they got to get on the same page at the same time, and they can't do that. They just haven't done it all year.
No. Jim was saying, did you see that the NHL quietly issued a statement today that he was not fired? He was scheduled to retire this year, obviously Tim Peel, this year, and will still receive his pension and benefits. They basically just retired him early. Which, again, that's a perfect – that, to me, I look at that situation as like, well, that's very spineless of you to do, NHL, because that doesn't exactly set the standard for other officials – that they don't have to worry about it at the end of the day. Like, all I got to do is stay here, get some tenure, and then I can fuck around with the game as much as I want, and I'll get fired. But at the end of the day, I'll still get my benefits and everything and just leave the game earlier than I wanted to. I'm like, what?
In that same breath, though, Matty, he may have said what he said on the hot mic, but he never made the call.
I get it, but it's still one of those things of, it's like.
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but in the same breath, he said it, but he never did it. So, you got to give him a little bit of something there. So, like Anthony just said, he was set to retire next month anyway, around 55-ish years old.
I'm not saying that, see, my problem is, like, I wouldn't have an issue with it if it wasn't the fact that he was considering it. It's like, again, it's one of those things of like, you're still considering it. That's still a piece of shit thing to do. It's like, at the end of the day, you still shouldn't be doing that. It's like, you're a veteran referee.
I agree.
Yeah, it to me, it's, again, like, NHL still at the end of the day, it's like, come on, man. You need to be serious about this and see, like, no. Like, even though he was thinking about it and he didn't do it, don't give a fuck. The guy considered it, and that means maybe he did do it. Maybe he did do it in other games. So, still, at the end of the day, it sends a big message to the rest of those refs. Be like, don't fucking try it. You try us, you will not get what you want at the end of the day. Don't care how long you've been in the league.
Yeah, but
That's
you
the
can't
way.
prove it. That's the problem.
Can't prove it, but at the same time, it's like, who's going to say, it's like, oh, well, the league can't prove it. It's like, yeah, but the league still has an obligation to say to the other officials, of like, no, like, you're still going to be held accountable, because at the end of the day, it's like, what's to say you didn't? You know, it's like, yeah, moral gray area, whatever. It's like, you still are thinking about doing shit like that, which means you have done it. Most likely you have. Proof or no proof at the end of the day. It's like, it's not a court of law. You know, it's like, you need those hard evidence. It's just one of those things of, you probably did fuck them over. You probably fucked over somebody.
You probably did.
You
I mean,
shouldn't.
like Rob was saying earlier, you have the makeup calls, whether it be in baseball or hockey or even football. You know, when you have those phantom calls or a missed call, you always get the makeup calls. This is why this situation is a little bit tougher. Because yeah, he did come out and say it on a hot mic that he wanted to make a call. He was pushing to make a call, but he didn't make the call. And you can't really prove otherwise that he has gone down the road to purposely make calls to screw other teams over for his benefit, because whether it be he put money on the game or fantasy reasons or just bias against the team, it's tough to be able to prove it. So I understand why they gave him his pension and just had him retire early instead of firing him, because they can't prove that he really did anything. He has a hot mic, yeah, but again, he never made the call. And he never made I don't think he made a bad call in that game.
Well, Prism has an interesting comment to say about that, where he's saying all leagues should do what the military does. If you don't gain X amount of rank in X amount of years, they process you out at the end of your contract. The league should say if you're bottom 10 X amount of years, you're out.
I like
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think it keeps them accountable. You know what I mean? And trying to be on the best of their game. I mean, it's just it's like it works for the military. Why not for the refs?
No, absolutely. And I'm all about holding these refs and umpires, line judges, whatever sport it is, holding these officials accountable for the jobs that they do. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are actually going to influence the game, whether it be good or bad.
So Anthony Melodio saying, we have some of the most ridiculous turnovers in the NHL, and we're not biased. We'll do it in any zone.
That's pretty
now,
funny. I like that.
To that point, you still understand it from a lot of the young guys, but then you see Voracek doing it today. You've seen Hayes do it in the own zone. Guys that know a whole hell of a lot better. That's what really burns my britches. And also, you got to look at, sometimes you see a lot of situations where a lot of times with Ghost, a few times with Sanheim, and even Provorov as well, where they're getting pinched in with lack of support. That goes to the system that you're running, right? Too much East-West Coast. I've said that a couple times, but a real lack of support. And, I don't want to keep on rehashing the coaching displeasures, because I know we got to get to the awards, before it gets too late. But, it's a series of being in poor positions. And it goes from top to bottom in terms of responsibility there.
Absolutely.
Now, by the way, though, one thing I am going to say here is we have a very important person we need to address, and that is Prism has a pet squirrel now.
He does.
And, yeah, he has a baby squirrel now. So, welcome to the fam. And what's his name? Rocky, is it?
I think so.
Yeah, so welcome to the fam, like Rocky. What?
Does he fly like Rocky? I mean, he was a flying squirrel.
Maybe. Maybe he was. Maybe he does.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that joke was going to go over Maddie's head. I know he's a little younger than we are, Rob. Probably doesn't remember Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Well, I can't say that I've seen the cartoon, but I know who they are because I have seen them on like branding and such like that. So I mean, I guess you could say it's half because I haven't actually seen the show itself. But anyway,
as long as you know who I'm talking about, that's all I care about, bro. That's all I care about.
Oh, Anthony's saying Niskanen made Provorov look like a Norris candidate. He's average at best this year. I wanted to see him take a step forward. Unfortunately, he's had a rough go of it. I think he really does still need someone there to help. Unfortunately. To be fair, though, I don't know if it's all his fault. There's also other players that just haven't picked up the slack that Niskanen left behind either. So
that's kind of what I'm getting at, Jim, is we have one proven mistake here. Can't really prove anything else. And you can't really fire him for one. I mean, you could, but I mean, I'm with you there. I don't disagree with what they did.
No, I mean, you could just be decommissioned, so to speak. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Prism saying, you don't get a certain amount of rank over a certain amount of years. Call it a career. Time to move on to your next chapter. You know what I mean? And you get the pension benefits that are awarded at that tenure. If you will.
Avalanche is really taking it to the Knights tonight.
And Anthony was saying, not his fault. He's just a small part of the puzzle. I mean, mm-hmm. I can't say that everyone. I can't say that everyone has to have, okay, this is the reason why we suck. No, it's everyone is going to share their fair part of the blame here. The whole team gets a big old fat, this is your fault. As an entire collective group. Not it's this guy's fault, or it's that guy's fault, or it's the coach's fault. No, it's everyone's fault right now. That's basically what it is. Everyone's getting their lion's share of the blame here.
Let me put it to you this way. Desjardins could be Desjardins when he had Bundy staying at home. Provorov is trying to do both, and he's lost his own identity. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And you need that. It's like, I mean, there are the elite defensemen that are just pure gas. Like, you're seeing a future one on the other side of the ice, and Adam Fox being, compared to Adam Graves, which is high praise. But very few defensemen, don't require that good line mate. I mean, I think even the great ones just mentioned there, you still need that reliable partner, and you're just not getting when you have to rely on that being Justin Braun, who has played well overall this season. He has played well, but he's a second pairing at best. Mm-hmm. He should really be on your third pairing, a fifth, sixth defenseman on your team. That's just who he is, and he's great at that. But when like I said, I mean, coming into the season, I really thought you were going to have Provorov and Sanheim, and Sanheim was going to, he brings a good rush element, but he really just lost his defensive zone presence and taking the body and taking the man, which is what, I always thought him to be good at.
Sorry, David. I'm with Jeffrey Rose on this one, man. Mika Zibanejad ain't going nowhere. You can probably get him in Arizona on NHL 21, but you're not getting him in real life. He's not leaving the Rangers.
And he was saying the entire team, not just Ghost, not just AV, not just Hart and Elliott. No, the whole team has to take their lion's share of the blame here.
And like Rob was saying earlier, was you gotta point the finger at Chuck Fletcher as well, because he didn't turn off his mic.
No, I can hear you. Was I making too much noise? My apologies. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I just didn't know what you were doing, if you meant to turn off your mic or not.
I'm dipping into the candy like we're still at the studio.
What was I saying? Oh, to Robbie's point, you got to point the finger at Chuck Fletcher too for not replacing Niskanen.
Yeah, not really done all that much.
I thought it was about to be 6-1.
But yeah, so with everything going on, Prism was saying, it's ingrained in the mindset of profession for the referees. How many times have any of us called a makeup call coming incorrectly? It's too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something all real quick, and then I'm gonna go back off camera. But these little jams are the fucking bomb, dude. They're cookie and cream kisses.
Ooh,
Don't.
nice.
I'm on it. He's gonna make me go get him.
They're calling out to you, Brian.
Son of a bitch. Make you.
So
Should be eating
we'll
chocolate.
do a transition into our mid-season awards and the NHL front runners for the awards. Prism was saying that his daughter picked the name of the squirrel, and she's never seen Rocky and Bullwinkle. And she said no, because we found it on a rock, and that's why she calls him Rocky. So, okay.
Rocco! Hey, Rocco! Rocky!
I mean, that's good logic. I mean, she's what, 8, Chris? You said? Perfect logic for an 8-year-old. I believe she's 8. I think he says she's 8. All right. Trophy time.
All right, guys. So, the NHL awards, of course, they happen every year.
5.
And on top of that,
off.
we're also going
She's
to give
5.
our own mid-season awards. I guess you could call them like a grade, too, basically, at the end of the day. But, yeah, we're going to go through our mid-season awards, and we're also going to go through our NHL awards, basically. And so, with that, we're going to start it off with our NHL frontrunners of the awards. Obviously, we have the one is the Hart Trophy, which is the most valuable player of the year. Obviously, those are ones that you usually see go to the guys who are either leading in goal scoring or they're leading their team in assists or what have you. It's usually going to the one that's just the overall most dominant offensive performer. Although sometimes it's gone to somebody else, most of the time it goes to them. Front runner right now, it's Connor McDavid, which really shouldn't surprise anybody.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
He's on pace. If this was a normal season, I think they said he was on pace for 156 points.
It's unreal, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal. He's currently tied for first in goals, number 1 in assists and points. You know, he's got 60 points, which is, I believe, 10 more than his teammate Draisaitl, who sits in second place. If the Oilers win the North, it's only going to increase his chances, and there's a 3-way tie currently for their top slot. But yeah, I mean, McDavid's always a good MVP candidate. He's who represents this league, really.
Mm-hmm. Just to say what's up to Greg Caldwell chiming in saying Abe Kubel skated right into TK in the third. That's how bad it's getting, which is the truth.
And so on from the most valuable player, other players that are around, Patrick Kane has been looked at in that, which, I mean, talk about just, waking up. Patrick Kane started the year just kind of miserable, and then all of a sudden he just went into fucking, Patrick Kane Showtime mode, and it's like, boy, once he gets into that mode, he's hard to stop.
Mm-hmm. Especially on a team that has no Jonathan Taves, no Kirby Dach, no a couple other guys who are hurt too, but just to see him play, I think the Hart's a no-brainer. Like you could put Kaner in the mix, you could put Draisaitl in the mix, put Austin Matthews in the mix, but I think it's a no-brainer with Connor McDavid. I think he's hands down. I mean, the dude's just tearing the league apart right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kane being minus his buddy, his dynamic duo. We still haven't really heard much about his health situation and potential return. So far from what I'm still hearing is that it's long-term and potentially career-threatening, and that's the last I've heard. It's been very hush-hush. So, that's going to be a distraction. But eventually you get the wheels in motion, and both Kane and the Chicago Blackhawks, who sit in a playoff spot, unlike our Philadelphia Flyers right now, that would support his MVP. Dumb.
And then he even got Duncan Keith playing back into old form back in 2015 when he won the Norris Trophy and a Stanley Cup, and I think he was in consideration for the Conn Smythe that year if he didn't already win it. But it's been Kane's worth putting in a debate, but I think hands down, it's Hart Award goes to Connor McDavid. Again,
Yeah,
he's
it
on
has
pace.
to.
He's got 60 points at the halfway point. he's going to put up in a 56 game season. He's going to probably put up 100 points. That's ridiculous.
That is just crazy to think about it. Boy, I'll tell you right now, man, if Edmonton doesn't win a Stanley Cup with Connor McDavid, I'm literally going to laugh my ass off. Like, there's no reason why you can't win a Stanley Cup with Connor McDavid. There's no reason whatsoever. But along with that, Greg was saying also the growth of Farabee has been the only positive thing this season.
Really takes a step forward.
Yeah, and Oscar Lindblom getting some goals, seems like he's on his road to recover. It seems like he's recovered and he's starting to find some game. Unfortunately, it's in this bad period, but I'm happy to see him getting some goals and showing some balls too, fighting. But
right. Well, just good seeing him finally finding his game and his shot. I mean, finally, I think he's finally back to his pre-cancer level of play. So I mean, that's just great to see. They need to keep behind that, and that momentum. But he needs more. I mean, it'd be nice to see Patrick do the same since his return. I mean, with Patrick, you've seen flashes, but at this point, he's been a disappointment.
Yeah, something happened with Lindblom at practice today. From what I understand, it's something they're keeping in-house. At least to my knowledge, it's in-house. I haven't heard anything about it. Apparently, he was leading and stretching and all that stuff, and all of a sudden, the guys just got up, started cheering for him, stick taps. A couple guys were hugging him. Kevin Hayes, I think, kissed his forehead or something. So he received some kind of good news for something. What it is, I don't know. Maybe his girlfriend's pregnant. Got a clean bill of health again after his next, his last checkup. Who knows? I'm not sure.
That's what I think. My guess, and they couldn't even confirm it on the broadcast tonight, but my guess is 6-month remission.
That's what I'm thinking. So hopefully, obviously whatever it is, it's good news because they were celebrating him at practice. So, listen, whatever it is, I'm all for it. I'm happy for Oscar. He deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kane and Prism was saying Kane is the MVP if they make the playoffs. If Chicago gets in, I mean, that would have to be the reason why they're in. Honestly. Let's see here. And Greg was also saying Lindblom and Patrick both fighting, and they're the ones with the medical problems. Yeah, that does say a lot, doesn't it? Although
Patrick Brown, you need to stop it.
Patrick
Go
Brown
play NHL 21 beat the GM.
Patrick Brown also said if you didn't see Patrick anything. I saw it. It is kind of crazy to see Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, and Matthew and Brady Tkachuk, not just one Tkachuk brother. Sean Couturier, Thompson to the Coyotes.
And then of all people, Tage Thompson in that list.
Oh, God. Anthony saying...
Can you confirm that?
Lindblom... Hey, if he came clear of cancer, congratulations to Oscar Lindblom.
If that's actually what happened, that's probably the better news than hearing that his girlfriend's pregnant. Because that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that his scans come up clear.
Absolutely.
Because Rob knows. Me and Rob both have had cancer affect our families big time, and anytime that anybody can get a clear scan like that is great news. Is great news.
Absolutely.
All right.
On to our next award, the Norris for the best defenseman. Obviously, you need good defense, something that the Flyers should probably fucking understand. But unfortunately, they don't. And Prism saying the troll game from David is on point. It is.
It's not even trolling. I mean, Arizona has a lot of cap space, but that's a lot of money they're taking on.
If they got,
happen.
If the Coyotes got Jack Eichel, I'll be honest though. If the Coyotes got Jack Eichel, which is realistic that they could get him because they have the cap, but I'd laugh my ass off because it'd be great. He went from one shitty situation to another shitty situation. Wonderful move.
If in order to trade for those guys, you got to give up talent. What talent outside of Oliver Ekman-Larsson is in Arizona right now? I mean,
really,
you can
really.
argue a couple for sure, but Christian
you have-
Dvorak, you can argue. Oh crap, who the hell? Clayton Keller.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, what are you gonna do? Say, hey, take Phil Kessel? Although the Sabres probably would take Phil Kessel. I'll be completely honest with you. They like grabbing play. They like grabbing.
Trade Phil Kessel back to Toronto for a case of hot dogs or a lifetime supply of hot dogs.
Yeah. Oh. Patrick's saying, would you rather be shitty in New York or Arizona? Honestly, I'd rather be shitty in Arizona if the weather's better. Honestly.
True. It's a dry heat out there, so it's not as bad.
All right. So let's see here. On to Norris Division. Boy, that's something you haven't heard in a while. The Norris Trophy. Right now leading the race on that one. I will say, for me, I'm going to go with Victor Hedman for the Lightning. You know, I mean, that's like, it's very hard to argue against him. You know, it's just, what are you going to do? Yeah, he's like the new measuring stick for defensemen at this point.
Well, it's not even just that, man. Like, he's a big physical defenseman. He's going to clear out the front of the net. But then he's an offensive powerhouse as well. Like a powerhouse. Like, he's got a killer shot from the point. He's huge on the power play. He's huge on the penalty kill. He's huge 5-on-5. There's no aspect of the game that he does not dominate in.
True. It's crazy to think about it though, but having him on that defense, he's the kind of player that you could have shitty defensemen all around him, and that defense will still be one of the better ones in the league because that's how good he is. He can help elevate that defense to that point. That's how impressive of a player he is.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, then. So on to the Vezina Trophy for goaltending. Leading the race on that.
What? Do you only get a vote? Nobody else gets the vote on these trophies?
Oh, sorry, Rob. I thought we were all in agreement on Victor Hedman. If you had somebody different, throw him out.
No, I got Victor Hedman.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's leading a team in points as your defenseman, and I mean they got spread out scoring. They're Lightning having another phenomenal season, but I don't think there's any arguing he's the best defenseman today. But I just wanted to say that. I wanted to give some love to Hedman because apparently I've been labeled as anti-Lightning.
Really?
Who labeled you as anti-Lightning?
Remember a few shows back? Who was it? Freaking! It wasn't Nicole. You know, it was somebody on YouTube that was super big Tampa Bay Lightning fan when we were talking about like Carter versus Vazzy, and he was like, "Oh, Carter sucks, Vazzy." You know what I mean? And he was calling me a Lightning hater.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm like an elephant. I never fucking forget. That could have been like 8 weeks ago.
I think that was a little longer than that. Yeah.
Fucking bitches. Damn trolls.
Damn trolls.
Go back to living under your bridges. Anyway.
Yes.
All right. On to the Vezina Trophy for the best goalie. There are a few names in here. There's a few that are actually tied for, like third, fourth place. But really, at the end of the day, I would have to say the leader right now seems to be Vasilevsky. And it's like, Christ. Like, the Lightning are just fucking killing it right now. Although, Fleury seems like he's getting some love, which is interesting. Is Fleury just like an ageless wonder for goaltenders right now? I swear to God he is.
I'm sure he got lit up tonight.
He did, but still. It just seems like no matter how older he gets, he's not. And you know what, though? Prism does have a good nominee, though, on the Norris, and that is Cale Makar. So I'll give him that one.
He's definitely in the argument.
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently Prism's saying that Makar moved into the Vegas betting line at a plus 600.
I don't know what that means. I'm not a betting guy.
Rob, you know, right?
Say again?
That Makar moved into the Vegas betting line at plus 600.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't bet hockey.
Oh, okay.
So there is one name I want to throw out here for the Vezina right now.
Sure.
He's actually putting up slightly better numbers in certain aspects than Vasilevsky, and that's Philip Grubauer.
Yeah.
26 games, 19 and 17. Vasilevsky has a better record. The goals against is a 1.71 by Grubauer, which is a lower goals against than Vasilevsky. And I believe his save percentage is just slightly better at 930 than Vasilevsky's as well. So he's my vote for the Vezina.
Yeah, I could hear that. And if you look around, I mean, there's definitely some goaltenders having like quality seasons. Vazzy just does it across the board. Like, for example, he's third in save percentage at the 933 mark, right? You know, so there's still two goalies ahead of him. I think one's Peter Mrazek, though, and that's, you know, he's had, unfortunately, he qualifies for the leaderboard with only 4 game starts. I'm like, that's bullshit right there. But anyway, I guess that's like, well, it's because a lot of teams only have played, you know, so many X games in a shortened season. So that's that you see those little differences from normal times. But anyway, Vazzy, 4th in goals against with a 183, 3rd in shutouts with 3, 1st in wins with 21. So, you know, Grubauer was the other name that I was just looking at, Brian. So, I mean, you know, great minds think alike. But because Vazzy's so consistent across the board, that's why I'm going to stick with that. But, you know, Grubauer giving Colorado what they need, and that's goaltending. I'll talk about Colorado a little more in future awards.
And I know he's in the talks for the Vezina, but Varlamov's numbers are solid. But right now they're not better than Fleury or Grubauer or Vasilevsky. He's at a 14-6 record, 220 goals against, and a save percentage at 223. Solid numbers. He's having a great year. Don't get it twisted. But he still has some work to do if he wants to catch up in the Vezina race.
And then we got Prism, who was saying, what are the shot attempts that Grubauer and Vazzy have seen?
Oh, man, you're going to make me have to look that up? Come on, bro. I ain't going to know that one off. Hang on. I'll look it up. I'll look it up just because I like you, Priz. All right, let's move on to the next award here. We got Maddie.
Next
Rob,
up,
who'd you go with the Vezina?
Yeah, I did. I went for Vazzy. Is he going for shot attempts?
Yeah.
Vazzy's 640. The Vazzy's got 645. Grubauer's 589. So I mean, you're talking. Oh no, pardon me. I'm sorry. 633 to Grubauer to 691. So still the same. You know, about 60. You know, I was going. Those were the saves I was quoting. 589 to 645. So I mean, you know, still in the market of like upwards of 60 more shots and saves for Vazzy.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's still a lot of shots to face, and the fact that they both have a sub-2 goals against.
Yeah.
Says a ton about the goaltending that they've had today.
Oh, no doubt.
And he just gave up a goal, of course. I give Grubauer some credit, and he gives up a goal.
The Jackson Jinx.
Looks like Vegas crashed the net. Oh, he never saw the puck.
On to our Calder Trophy for the best rookie of the year.
I think this one's a given.
Yeah, I hate to say that it is, but it kind of is, and I think we all know it's Kirill Kaprizov at this point, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rob, are you in agreement on that one?
You know I am, man. The magician out of the Minnesota Wild. I mean, there's some other names though. I mean, talking about first-year players making a mark, Tim Stützle, you know, for the Senators is having a great season. Nils Hoglander's having a good season. Lafreniere, who we saw tonight, is starting to get it going. But my boy Krill, he's just stood out leaps and bounds, man. Tonight, let me tell you, right? Absolute power move on the outside. Snipers at short side over the goaltender's blocker. Like, I'm talking an inch to get the puck in there, and he got in there. Kids, absolute stud muffin, leading rookies in goals with 27. I mean, points with 27, goals with 11, and whatchamacallit, that's his bread maker right there. Ty Smith for the Devils leading in assists. He's another young defenseman for the New Jersey Devils. He's impressed me when we've seen him, but yeah, it's got to be Krill, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up some great names and great arguments for these guys. Youth is youth is looking good in the NHL right now. We got a lot of talented players getting ready to entertain us, but it's just Krill. Ever since he came in, ever since he stepped foot on the NHL ice, making his debut, the kid just hasn't stopped. Like, he's getting better as the season goes on, which I think is why he's going to run away with the Calder, like Cale Makar did last year. It's just he's just been so good. He's in the right places, right positioning, taking smart shots, figuring out ways to dish, figuring out ways to score goals. He was the first person I thought of with the Calder, and I don't even think there's anybody close. I think there's anybody close.
Stutzel, like I said, I mean, he's in the ballpark. He's put up a lot of assists on top of lighting the lamp a little bit. So he could be in the argument. Hogland too.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue Stutzel because he's kind of overshadowed because of where he plays.
Right.
I think that plays a huge factor into it. I'm actually going to look up his stats real quick. I knew Kaprizov has, I think, like 20 some odd points this year. I'm going to take a look real quick and see where Stutzel is. Yeah. Of course, now it doesn't want to work. There it goes. Stutzel's got 13 assists, so he's in the top 3 in assists for the team. 6 goals, just outside of the top 3 of the team in scoring with 19 points. Unfortunately, he's on the ice a lot when they don't score, so he's sitting at a -12. I think that kind of hurts him a little bit, but
sure.
He's got a bright future. He puts himself in good position. It seems like he's doing a lot more passing than shooting right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see the young talent that's going to be in the Metro, or at least in this East Division. There's a lot of talent. Now, there's a kid on the Rangers. I'm trying to think of his name. Besides Lafreniere, who has become like one of the untouchables. Keandre Miller.
DeAndre,
yeah, he's impressed me too, or whatnot. It's sickening.
What's up, AK?
AK Eagles 88 saying, "Hey guys, just stopping in. Saw the title. Just wanted to say I'm sorry. I expect more from this team, and I know you guys do too. Very upsetting. Yeah, unfortunately, we expected a lot from them this year, and doesn't exactly live up to it."
Yeah, AK, they're reminding us of those Eagles right now, bro.
Yeah. And DeAndre Miller, that's not a bad choice. I mean, hey, he got a goal tonight. So, he's definitely been a big player for the Rangers. And just makes it all that more frustrating that he happens to be on a team in our division. Of course he is. Anyway. All right, so on to the Jack Adams Award, Coach of the Year. And, it seems like a lot of the love is going to Barry Trotz on the New York Islanders. I don't know, though. I am seeing some love for Joe Quenneville, which would make sense, considering the fact that the Panthers look like they finally got their shit together for once. There's a few other guys here.
I didn't think about Joe Quenneville, but I got a good one for the Jack Adams.
Sure, go right ahead.
Dean Evanson from the Minnesota Wild.
Did not expect.
Too. Oh, is he in there?
He's in here. He's in the convo.
Oh, good. He should be in the convo because he's taking a mediocre Minnesota Wild team, and right now they're competing with every team in the West. There was a point in time where they were competing for the number 1 seed. I mean, they're obviously not at this point, but they're still in the playoff picture. They're still playing really well. They've put together a really good team, and it seems like Dean Evanson's system is working for the Minnesota Wild. So he should definitely be, especially with the team that was, God, where did they finish last year? Oh, they made the playoffs last year.
Yep. Early round exit, right?
They were not they weren't expected to be a playoff team. They were actually expected to finish bottom of the barrel.
Right.
But they're competing. I love it.
Yeah.
So Dean Evanson's my he's my guy.
Yeah, for me
it's on that one. Oh, sorry, Rob.
No, that's a problem. Yeah. I mean, I'm half agreeing too, because for me, it's between Dean Evanson and Jeremy Colleton for the Chicago Blackhawks. you know, and I think he could be up if Blackhawks make the playoffs. That raises Kane's stock for potential MVP, especially if they make some noise in the playoffs. But I mean, judging by the regular season, taking a team like that was in total rebuild mode, and you lose one of your two cornerstones that you build around to retool and make the playoffs, that's remarkable. So, I'll go for Colin. Just to be, I mean, I'm infatuated with Minnesota Wild. You know what I mean? Like, and what they're doing out there. So, I mean, I would not be heartbroken if it went to Evanston as well. But I'll go for the Blackhawks there because apparently I'm a Blackhawks hater too.
Listen, that's no, you brought up a great point. I didn't even think about him. I mean, nobody expected Chicago. Like, again, it's another situation where they didn't expect Chicago to compete.
Right.
But again, because of where the divisions are set up this year, you're seeing teams compete a little bit early. And just Chicago, like you said, the biggest thing is they lost Jonathan Taves. That was huge. That's not just a good player. That's the team captain.
Yeah.
This team is rallying behind Patrick Kane. Kane is putting this team on his back. And they're winning hockey games.
That's the difference between a mentally strong team and a mentally weak team like the Philadelphia Flyers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Duncan Keith is back to his old way, so he's playing really well. Defense has been set up. Their young goalie, Lackinen, I think his last name is,
Lankinen,
has been ridiculous in net. He's a stud. I didn't, especially losing Corey Crawford. I wasn't expecting Chicago to compete. I was expecting to be down at the bottom of the barrel with Anaheim.
Right.
And yet, here they are. I think they're in third place in their division.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about. It's like more things change, the more they stay the same, right? Shit don't change in the NHL. It just goes on. Shit continues to happen. It's like, oh, the Blackhawks are still competitive? Christ. Well, they're never dying, are they? Fuck. Thought they were.
They're in fourth.
Yeah.
Just like they talked about on After Dark, man, dynasties are forever, man. They somehow reform.
They do, man. They do. But those are the awards and the front runners that we've got for the awards right now. Obviously, we still have the second half of the year to go through. It will be done, though, pretty quickly, as we only have, 2 months left in the season? Don't have much left. But, yeah, before you know it, we'll be on to the playoffs. And, we'll see where everybody sits after that. So that's that. Now it's time to give our midseason awards. And so this is where we're not needing to look up any names. These are coming from, we're not needing to really, this is coming from our hearts of we didn't need to look up any stats. We didn't need to go into how the season's been going for them. We're just saying what we feel about, where we think teams are at. So far we're going to go through our most disappointing teams and our most surprises. Basically, that's what our mid-season awards are going to be. So, gentlemen, which one do you want to do first? Do you want to do disappointments or do you want to do the surprises?
I think we all know the disappointment. Let's go surprises.
All right, then. Surprises. Rob, how about you?
I'm fine with that.
All right, then. So, on to the surprises we go. I'm going to start off, and honestly, I'm going to go the Minnesota Wild. I really did not think they were going to play as well as they did. I thought they were mediocre at best, and I thought they'll hug the line, but I don't think they're going to get in. They'll be on the line and flirt with it. I thought they were going to fizzle out. I thought they were starting off the year but look at who they're facing. They're facing the Ducks, facing the Sharks, they're facing the Kings. They're not what they used to be. And when they face the bigger teams, that's when they're going to start having their cracks form. Nope. Their cracks did not. They got stronger, and Greg was saying the Blackhawks, and you know what? They're kind of in the same ballpark. It's like, boy, we really thought that this team was going to be one thing. They turned out to be a whole opposite at the end of the day. Minnesota, while I thought, they had some talent, I did not think that they were going to be this competitive, and they have been, and they've been consistently competitive. So I got to give them credit. Good on you, boys. Showing us that you got something out there over in Minnesota. And Kyrell, holy shit. If that guy winds up recreating what he's doing this year, there's your superstar. That's all I got to say about that. There is your fucking superstar moving forward.
See, I want to see. That's the thing. Like I was going to give it to the Minnesota Wild, but I think I got to go with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
Just because, like I was saying earlier, they're missing not one but two big cornerstone pieces to the offense, to the team, and they're still finding ways to win hockey games. Big question marks everywhere. Defense is starting to really show who they are. Lankinen is starting to show that, and maybe it's just because nobody really knows him yet, or what he has. But he's playing at a I don't want to say elite level, but he's playing great hockey in net for the Blackhawks. And then you got Patrick Kane. You got Showtime doing what Showtime does. Yeah, it's got to be Chicago. It's got to be Chicago. To me, it's the biggest surprise. I want to say what's up to Kevin Dixon, John Coyle. What's up, Johnny? I know you haven't been with us for some time now. I know you got your things going on. I hope everything's going good for you, brother.
And then he goes on to say, I know I'm late to the show, but I was at the game tonight. Ooh. And I'm done with this whole defense. Provy isn't a number one guy. Then all we have are kids that can skate. No real D-men. Have a great show. Ooh. I am so sorry, John, that you were at that game tonight. That is fucking awful that you were there. I am so sorry.
I think Zeke was there too.
Feel bad
I think
for
he
him.
was too.
So sorry, guys.
That hurts.
Oh, that makes the loss even that much worse. That somebody that we know in the fam was there and got to watch that travesty.
Hey, hang on real quick. Greg, who are you a fan of? Because the way he said it, let me see. Let me see if
I think this one kind of says he said we traded our captain once and he won a cup in the West and the Flyers went downhill. Then he said,
sorry, I misread that.
Yeah.
I misread that for sure. Greg also says, yeah, and tickets are expensive, and this is what the team's putting out at the home games. Yeah, this is why I kind of haven't gone back yet.
By the way, the Flyers have a whopping 1 win since letting the fans back into the building.
Yeah.
1 win, and that was a comeback win against the Sabres. That's it.
Look what y'all did.
One win in the last 6 and 3 in the last 12. Bad news.
Prism saying Kubalik and DeBrincat are the real deal. No argument here.
And then you throw Alex Nylander on top of it.
Yeah.
Chicago's a nasty team again.
Now, Prism did say, go on say, I never doubted the Hawks. I expected them to be a 500 type team. Interesting.
I doubted them hard, especially after losing Corey Crawford and expecting Max Subban to be their starting goaltender. I wasn't expecting them to be a 500 team. Funny how things change quickly.
Anthony's surprise of the year, Vancouver, but in a bad way.
Yeah. Accurate.
Oh. But, Robbie, what you got for your biggest surprise?
Well, I'm going to go with a player because I actually had the Minnesota Wild as my biggest surprise as well, and I want to repeat your thunder, so to speak. So I'm going to go with Tyler Toffoli, going on to Montreal and lighting the lamp for 18 goals so far in the season and 27 points overall. Just playing good hockey for Montreal, building upon what he, speaking of Vancouver, what he rediscovered there for the Canucks. And I didn't quite expect this type of elite level goal scoring from Tyler. He was a guy I coveted for the Flyers as a sniper, and it's good to see him doing well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great option, man. We never specified whether it was going to be team or player, so I like that you went down the player route. And I definitely love that you went Tyler Toffoli, especially with the way he's played the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah. Because we were just talking about him with Anthony being a disappointment, and pretty much how he's made Vancouver his bitch all season long. So I'm on board. I love that answer there, Rob.
Boy, it just makes the love that we had for Tyler Foley and wanting him on the Flyers that much more validated. Like, fuck, Boy, if only we had Toffoli on this team, maybe he would actually have done something tonight. Maybe he would have made the Rangers his bitch this year. One can dream, right? Anyway, that's what NHL 21's for. Anyway, on to
The Flyers are going to win a cup.
Yeah, Christ. Anyway, that's a bit of a low blow, but all right. Anyway, and Anthony, I would ask, did you fill out any papers for the reimbursement on the tickets? That's a good question. I think John should consider that. He really should look that up and see what his rights are.
Everybody at that game tonight should do that.
Yeah, go get lawyered up right now. Get lawyered up and get ready to fucking sue for that just because of that. That was an absolute waste of time. Anyway.
Ooh, Liz, I love it. Most disappointing rookies, Lafreniere. Love it. I'm on board.
That's a good nominee.
For the hype that he had behind him and where he went, how long it took him to get his first NHL goal, he's been a massive disappointment. He's starting to play a little bit better, but he's still not playing the type of game that you should as a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, being that difference maker like Crosby and McDavid was from day one. Yeah, you're not seeing that with Lafreniere. But is he younger? I want to say he was younger than those two when they debuted.
He, I think, is 21.
Oh, maybe not then.
Maybe a little bit younger. I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Prism saying 31 games.
It is a big disappointment.
Prism saying 31 games, 8 points, and a -7. And by the way, he didn't even score tonight. Well, wait a minute. He was in the lineup, right? I think
he had 1 goal.
Yeah.
He did have a goal.
Yeah, that jam, it was his stick that poked in the puck there and make it 8-3. And he should have got a chip in his tooth. Where's Darian Hatcher when you need him?
Actually, the goal went to Cheadle.
Did it? Oh, I thought.
Lafreniere got an assist on it.
Well, this kid's snake, but if he can't even score on the Flyers are the equivalent of a $2 fucking whore. You should be able to score on them any day.
Damn.
Jesus.
Dollar goal nights at the Wells Fargo.
Ha.
Yeah.
$1 dog nights.
Oh,
let's see. Lafreniere is 19 years old.
He's 19. Okay.
Yeah.
John's saying hopefully Sanderson is a good goalie because we have ruined Carter Hart. I hope we have not ruined Carter Hart. I really don't.
I don't think we've ruined Carter Hart. I hate saying it because I've been against it, but I do very much think we should send Carter Hart back to Lehigh just for the remainder of the season, just so he can get his head back. And I think he'll be fine. He is only 22. Most goaltenders don't hit their prime until 24, 25 anyway. So he still has a little bit of developing to do, but I don't think he's ruined.
Nah, you get him home, you know what I mean, off season to clear the head or whatever. It's like, if you've been watching this game, I know John has too. He's reacting. You go into the game tonight. I'd be like, fuck this team, fuck Hart, fuck everybody. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can see a kid like that. The talent's there. It's easy to, once you clear your head, come back and regain your form. We've seen it in the city before. I mean, I know we've been classically cursed with the goaltending issue, so that's why it's a little touchy subject. But I have ultimate faith in Hart.
So do I. I think he'll be fine. This team as a whole just isn't playing good.
Yeah,
and he's taking the brunt of it, unfortunately. And it's easier to blame the goaltender than to blame the rest of the team, but you got to point the finger everywhere. There's not one aspect of this game that the team is playing well.
Yep.
Yeah. And John was, I don't know. It's one of those things like, you do talk about Felix Sandstrom and everything like that. You're like, well, what about that? And it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily where you want to go down that route. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like Hart's 22 and this team's just playing like shit. It's like anybody could be back there. You could have a veteran goalie and they play like shit. they've had a veteran goalie back there and they play like shit. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
I want
Greg.
to hear Don Don's awards. Maybe he can kind of get back to us on the replay or something. Because I think he had it split. But wasn't this his brainchild? He was clamoring for the mid-season awards.
That's true. He was.
Yeah, and Anthony, I agree with you. Like, it's tough, but sometimes a young guy, he needs a little stint back down the AHL just to get his head straight. And all this is doing right now is hurting his confidence. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing. It's just maybe for a week, maybe for 2 weeks, the rest of the season, have him come back up, and obviously the job is going to be his next year. But he needs to get his head right. He needs to get that confidence back. It's gone.
And I think it's good. I think it's good for a goaltender to go through this in his career and overcome it. I think back when people were scoring on Henrik Lundqvist left and right, and I think he got his game together. You know what I mean? You got to go through it to get through it. Sorry to jump in, but that it's something that's passionate about.
But you're spot on though. You're absolutely right. It's good for a young kid to go through the struggles early. Like Jonathan Gibson did it.
Yeah.
And look at the goaltender he is now. I mean, granted, he's again overshadowed because he's on a bad team, but I shouldn't say bad team, rebuilding team, but still the same thing. But he's a much better goaltender now because he went through struggles early in his career. And he came up and was named a starter at 21. Came up as a backup at 20. Maybe he benefited from being a backup for a full year, but I mean, Hart was pretty much the starter from the get-go. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
He was pretty much brought in because of the fact that we had already had 50,000 different goalies and we had injuries continuing to plague us. At that point, Fletcher just said, fuck it, and he brought Hart up. And Hart turned out to be solid. So, all right, we'll just roll with the kid. That's pretty much what happened, and then there you go.
I mean, it's potentially a thing that maybe they brought him up too early. Maybe, who knows? But the thing, I mean, Rob said it earlier. This kid's not going to forget to play goaltender.
Yeah,
I mean, even Greg Caldwell said it. He's getting shelled out there. The defense is always out of position. They don't play the trailer. They play the puck more than anything. It's every goaltender is going to go through struggles. And I hate that this is a constant thing with the city of Philadelphia is pushing these guys out when they struggle instead of, I don't want to necessarily say supporting him, but, just letting him play through his struggles. Because I guarantee you, if Carter Hart winds up somewhere else, he's going to be a star. And they're going to be, it's another regret of Philadelphia being dumb enough to trade. No. The fans pushed him out, just like the fans pushed out Carson Wentz.
But go ahead and say struggles, though, Brian. Don't shy away from that, because what good are we fans if we don't root for our guys through thick and thin?
Exactly.
People turn on players so quickly or so quick to boo. Now, you want to boo him for that shitty attempt on the third goal tonight? Okay, I'm cool with that. But we've seen it a lot before then, and it's kind of what has gotten us to this place. People forget that a fan supports their team. They need you the most when they're down, not picking and preying upon them. Stop attacking.
Greg brings up the best example. We gave up on Bobrovsky. We got rid of him. And I know somebody would say, yeah, but we had Brizgalov. I was like, yeah, we could have bought his ass out then too. And we didn't. We rolled with Brizgalov like fucking morons, and we got rid of Bobrovsky when it turned out we should have kept him. Hell, I mean, think about it this way. If Bobrovsky was having his struggles like he had his struggles last year with Florida right now, and we had Hart as his backup, and Hart was playing well, you could almost look at the situation as like, maybe we have Bobrovsky's replacement. And then it's not as much pressure on Hart, and the next thing, Hart can transition smoothly into the position. He couldn't transition smoothly into the starting position because he had to get brought in because of the situation that we had in goaltending. We had no solid goalies. We went through 10, 12 different goalies that one season, and we just said, fuck it, let's bring Hart up. We have nobody else. We've already used Lyon. We've used Stolars. We've used Picard. We used everybody. Fuck it. Well, let's bring Hart up. Maybe he'll be the fucking glue that holds it together. Because Elliott couldn't stay healthy, which was another issue we had when we brought Elliott in. He couldn't stay fucking healthy. Not that the fact that this team played like shit anyway, but still.
Yeah, but at
It's
that time,
just-
you got rid of Bobrovsky because you brought in Briz, who was putting up good numbers in Arizona. And the hindsight's 2020. Yeah, you should have probably held on to Bobrovsky and gave up on Briz, but you didn't know Briz was going to do that. Nobody knew Briz was going to do that. So, I mean, this is why I'm saying we can't get. They didn't necessarily give up on Bobrovsky. They had to make a choice. And did they make the wrong choice? Yeah, but if a situation happens where Carter Hart does leave Philadelphia, and I'm not saying that anybody's saying that he needs to go, but if it winds up being that way and the fans push him out of Philly, that's a situation where he got given up on.
Yeah.
And at 22, you shouldn't be giving up on. And John, I know you're going to say, John Coyle has a great point here. Go ahead, Matty.
Yeah. You're saying, I don't put any of this on Hart. It's this defense. And we've been saying that for actually this whole season. This entire fucking season we've been saying this. That trust issue is what hurts confidence. You can fix your own mistakes, but you can't fix others, which is true. You can only do what you're in control of. You can only fix what you're making mistakes on. What are you going to do when Braun, Sanheim, Myers, Gostisbehere, everyone's leaving you out to fucking dry? Provy, everyone's leaving this poor kid out on the island. It's not his fault. It really isn't his fault. Yes, there have been occasions where he's left a bad rebound out there. Yeah, he had a few long goals that got by him that shouldn't have got by him. But guess what? 90% of the time, it's not been his fault. It really hasn't. It really hasn't. And every goalie gives up softies. Every fucking goalie is guilty of it. Even the best ones gave up softies. Even the best ones. So anyone holding that against him, it's like, yes, but even the greats gave up softies a time or two. So that's bullshit to hold that against him. What is bullshit is to say it's all his fault. Because that isn't. It is not all his fault. Poor kid's all by himself. What's he supposed to do?
Yes, Greg, that's spot on. Briz is the reason that Richie and Carter got traded because they needed the captain to sign him.
Absolutely. And we basically made up to Columbus saying, here, you can have Bobrovsky. We're sorry about that, fleecing you by, trading off Jeff Carter and you giving us your 8th round pick, which turned out to be Sean Couturier. So we made up for that, for fleecing them on that deal, because then they flipped, quote unquote. Yeah, flipped. Got nothing in return. Gave Jeff Carter to the LA Kings, and they went up winning 2 Stanley Cups. Anyway.
Well, they gave Jeff Carter to Columbus first, and then Columbus gave him to the Kings.
That's what I mean, because Columbus flipped him to LA, and they got nothing in return.
Because he sucked. He sucked in Columbus. He got his butt buddy back.
Carter.
Yeah.
These bleeds. I know he ain't gonna get that. You might get that, Brian.
I wasn't paying attention. I was doing some comments. Sorry.
These bleeds? You're gonna stuff these bleeds up my nose?
Can't say that I know that one.
Oh, don't get me started on the fucking Luke Shen deal. Oh, do not get me started down that rabbit hole. I used to fucking torch Luke Shen every fucking week on the show after we traded JVR for him. And JVR had some great seasons for Toronto. Too bad Shen had nothing good for us. So, that was a bad move. Bad fucking move.
We only got a couple minutes left here, so let's get through these awards.
Yeah, we're getting lost here as we do that. But anyway, moving on.
Conversations from our fan base here. So,
true.
I'm not going to sit here and complain.
No, absolutely not. That's why we love the fam. That's why we love you guys. You guys are the ones who make this thrive at the end of the day. You really are. So, on to our biggest disappointment. I really don't think we need to hype this up. We all know who the biggest disappointment is. Let's say it together now. 3, 2, 1. The Flyers.
Their defense.
I think either one's right.
Honestly, yeah, it's been a very big disappointment. But let's not hog all that love of disappointment to the Flyers. Let's also throw some over to the Canucks out west. They've been a pretty bad disappointment in their own right. So little love giving out to the West Coast there. The Canucks have been pure shit. So, both sides. I think
That's
we can
true.
get disappointment on
You know,
that side of things.
The real disappointment here, specifically with the Flyers defense, but even a lot of the young players in this team, is the regression. You want to see at least bring what you brought last year, if not that little extra progression that you're one more year into your career, and you're just not seeing it, and the complete level is just gone. Absolute gone. And that's what the real disheartening thing. And it's it's a head scratcher. It almost seems like these boys, they need to be challenged in that they're just playing scared, like they're just afraid to be healthy scratched. You know what I mean? Or losing their spot, instead of playing aggressive, that's what's been the real big disappointment for me.
Absolutely. I'm with you. There's no heart in this team anymore. Another team that you could actually throw out there for biggest disappointment is the Western Conference finalist for the Stanley Cup last year, the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
True.
Showing that they may have been a flash in the pan last year, sitting 30 games in at 11-11-8, playing only 500 hockey.
And even crazier, they started out so hot after having that long break where they couldn't play because of the COVID outbreak that they had. And then, boom, right back down to earth, immediate, downward spiral. You looked at the trajectory, it's like one of those Great Depression steep falls. Yeah, that's how bad it was for them. And then
great choice,
Anthony
Anthony.
saying
That's another
Flames. Yeah. Yeah, there was
after they went out and got a goalie too.
Yeah. You would think Markstrom would be like, okay, that's all they needed. Nope. Nope. Anthony is also saying the Predators.
I don't agree with the Predators. They're on they're on the downward slope.
But I think we kind of saw it coming with the Predators a little bit. We kind of saw where they were going. It's like, yeah, their best years are behind them. They're going on that decline. I think we were all kind of seeing it coming slowly but surely. Are you guys surprised at how quick it came, or do you think it came right on schedule for them?
When John Hines is your bench boss, you kind of don't have anywhere to go except for down.
Also, they're a pretty older team now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's only a matter of time. Father Time waits for no man.
They got some good pieces there, but they're a retooling team. To me, where they are is not much of a surprise or disappointment to me. I thought that was a pretty much roundabout where they were going to be.
Yeah. And we kind of thought, Nashville, their run that they had to the Stanley Cup Finals, that was the height. And then it all started going down slowly for them. But, all right. So that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, guys. We thank everybody who chimed in tonight. Obviously, Greg, Anthony, Prism, Don, everyone who commented in tonight. And if you didn't comment in and you were just watching, thank you still very much. We love you all the same. All of you are part of the A2 Dean fam, and we absolutely enjoy and very much appreciate your support. We do not take that for granted. And if you do like what you have been listening to or watching on any of the platforms that we are available on, which is everywhere, thank you, Anthony, for that. We appreciate that.
Appreciate you, Ant.
And hopefully we'll see you next week. And, obviously, if you guys want to support us, and not just this show, but any of the other awesome shows that we have going on and the station as a whole of A2D Radio, where can they go to do that, Brian?
They can go to PhillyDrinkers.com. Philly Drinkers LLC. Get all your A2D merch there, all kinds of great stuff. Nike A2D hoodies, zip-up hoodies, show T-shirts, coffee mugs, all kinds of different hats. It's pretty awesome. Head over to PhillyDrinkersLLC.com or PhillyDrinkers.com, Philly Drinkers LLC. You could also check out Spit and Fire at Rachel Blaze tomorrow night. And we also have Fan Friday. I think Spit and Fire is 7:30, and Fan Friday, which is always fun because we always get fans on the show on Fan Fridays, is I believe 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on what's going on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Greg was saying, thanks, guys. Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate you, Greg. Appreciate all you guys.
And one last time, by the way, I'm going to bring this up so that way, let me see if I can find it. Crap, I can't. But the GoFundMe for Rob, for his sister, for the tragic loss of her husband. And, we just want to show our support for Rob and his family, because we love them, and we're sad to see what they're going through right now. So they do have a GoFundMe. Unfortunately, the comments, it's all the way at the top, and I can't get to it, but there is a GoFundMe going on there. Rob, do you have it by any chance that you could maybe show it to everyone? Or
it's a link you got to click on. You could right now on Facebook, particularly, I think on YouTube too, you can scroll back in the comments. You can click into the comment thread, and it's one of the first ones that show up. Appreciate the support, guys. Appreciate the love. Just a very tragic thing, and life catches you off guard. You got to live it to the fullest, and you got to support each other. And I appreciate the love from the fam here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, just saw this comment. Do you guys agree? Because I would like to agree on the Sabres.
It depends on what context he's trying to use it in.
Like, if they're the living embodiment of failure, I would like to say yes on that. Because I hate the Sabres. So
well, they're 2 times stronger than what we're going through. They just won't go away. Yeah, no, COVID-21, I get it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Mr. Svechnov, definitely join us next week. We definitely love to get some of your insight and have some fun with you next week in the conversation.
Absolutely. And so on that as well, guys, besides Philly Drinkers, other guys that we have that are our sponsors are Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. Listen, man, if you got any aches and pains, he's the guy to go to. Bri went to him, and he has been better for it. And it is in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And you can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Bri, tell the nice folks, how was it like working with Dr. Paul Vidal and the people over there?
Dr. Paul's great. All his associates are just as good as he is. Very supportive of what we do. Let me just put that out there. So I'm very supportive of what they do. They take their time with you. They make sure that you're not feeling any pain, stretch you out real good, and then do some training. And they're just very nice people. They very much care about what they do and care about getting you back to where you want to be. Actually, it's funny because I just actually got a card from my physical trainer saying that she appreciates and she had a pleasure meeting me and all this other stuff, and that she can't wait to work with me more and get my shoulder back to where it was. So, the people over at Specialized Physical Therapy are great. Awesome. Mr. Svechnov. I was gonna tell you to hit that subscribe.
Thank you, man. Thank you for subbing for us. And we'll see you next week. We're on every Thursday at 10. So you can talk some hockey there. And if there's other sports you want to talk about, if you want to talk about, since you're a Penguins fan, if you're an all-around Pittsburgh fan, or if you have other fandoms or what have you, we cover all the sports. So we got everything for you here. All right, then. And another sponsor that we have is also the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Listen, man, many of us go through mental issues, and we also have addiction problems that can come up in life, whether it's through an injury, maybe you get addicted to opioids, or maybe, you peer pressure, or maybe you're just going through a bad period, and so you gravitate towards something, get addicted to that, or maybe you're just suffering in silence. Listen, you don't have to do that. You can go to Sunrise Detox Counseling Center, 856-651-8117, or if you know someone who's suffering right now from these issues, again, give them the call, 856-651-8117. If we know you, or if you're watching, even if you comment or not, we don't want to see you going through that. We don't want to see your loved ones going through that. Get the help that you need. Get the help that they need. Please. Don't waste time on that. And then our show sponsor, Body Check Wellness. If you have something that you need to do, whether it's physical therapy or whether it's a mental clarity or what have you, Body Check Wellness is the place to go. They have blends, they have gummies, they have topicals, they have ointments. They use hemp in their products, but they also have THC-free ones as well. And you can use the A2D code for 20% off of their products. This is the stuff that's going to help you. Rob has used them, and he can tell you firsthand that they have done nothing but positives for him. And we do have Mr. Riley Cote, who created Body Check Wellness, on with us once a month. And when he is on with us, there's a THC-free box that they have. You get 40% off of that. That's about $140 worth of savings there. So, and that's with that promo code of A2D. You get the 40% off when he's on with us. So, yeah.
But come on with us soon, within the next week or two.
Absolutely. I'd love to get his opinion on how this team's been playing. And I'm pretty sure I would want to ask if he would love to be behind the bench right now just to make sure that, you know, that maybe whip this team into shape. Because if anybody could, I'm pretty sure Cote could. I'm pretty sure he could be one of them. But, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And listen, we love you guys, and we appreciate everything you do for us. And I always say this every week, and I still mean this right now. Even if you have gotten your second vaccination shot, still wear your mask. Still go into the store with the mask on, or go to the restaurant with the mask on. Common courtesy. Eventually it'll go away, but right now it's not right at this moment. I know we're rounding third. We're getting ready to head home, but give it time. We haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, guys, listen. And Nasty Knuckles. That's where you can check out Riley. So absolutely go check that out. Greg, 110% spot on with that. But anyway.
Can't forget Derek Settlemeyer.
Yeah,
He's the other guy that does it. Him and Derek do a great job together on Nasty Knuckles. So if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check them out, especially only after us. We come first.
Oh. All right, then. So thank you all for joining us, guys. We love you. We'll see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Oh, God, I pray to God we don't have another week like we've had the last couple of weeks. I don't know if I can take another one of these fucking weeks. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com, everyone. Peace and love. Take care, everyone.